Hey, I'm Anthony from Antlab Games. So today we're going to play Hoplomachus Origins, or Hoplo for short. Hoplomachus Origins is a game by Chip Theory Games, and it is essentially a tactical gladiator game that you fight out in an arena with gladiators that are printed on little chips, and has a unique mechanic where the chips actually represent their health, where there's nice mechanics, but it has a really smart like AI system for the solitaire version of this game. So, and it has a nice like 20 trial basically challenge to go through and fight against different champions in different preset arenas. So the game comes with like 3 different boards, all on some really nice game mats instead of on actual boards. So, let's just jump to the table. I'll show you how to set it up, and we'll play a few trials. Okay, we have the board set up, and we are going to play on this map, Xanadu, Summit of Glory, and we are going to start with the solo trial. So we're going to go into trial 1, and let's see what we need to do in order to set that up. Okay, according to the solo trials lineup card, there's a couple of things we need to note. So we're going to do trial 1. It tells you the arena, so the arena is Xanadu. The drafting and arena rules are we cannot draft Xanadian units or tactics, and it tells you who the challengers are. So there's going to be Arik, Bok, and Caracas. So we'll get those chips out and get them set up on the board. All right, now if we look at the solo trials rules, this will give us some tips on how we deploy our opponents. So we find our map here, Xanadu, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, those circles will line up with the respective grid squares, or the hexes, on the Xanadu map, and that's where we will deploy, in number order, the challengers. So let's grab those and get them on the board now. All right, so if you recall, we have to first place Arik Bok. And if you look at the tokens, right, it's got a number of different stats on here, and 2 different sides on this one character. So he has stars next to his name, so that's the stronger version. So for this scenario, we're going to use the weaker side, and that's what's important right now is his health. So he's got 5 health, so we're going to put 5 chips under him. And the second champion that we're going to be facing, or challenger, is going to be this Caracas. So she's got 2 health. So when we go to the board, we take 5 chips under him, and that'll signify his health. And the number 1, according to the trial rules, is this hex, and 2 health on Caracas, and she goes in the number 2 hex, which is over here. So that'll be their starting positions. And now we get to draft our champions, or our fighters, and we get to choose 6 fighters and 6 traits. So we can, or tactics rather. So 6 fighters and 6 tactics. So we can go ahead and do that. Just remember, we can't draft any Xanadian units. All right, so let's look at the units and tactics I've drafted. So these are the gladiators I've chosen. No Xanadian units. So I've got a spearman, an attacker, a centurion, a marauder, and 2 tactics. So I've got bolster health and crowd cheap shot. Now I'm only allowed 1 unit with this star icon. They're like special units, so you're allowed to have 1 of them, and you draft just 6 for the solo play. So those are the 6 I've chosen. I'll go through as I deploy them onto the board. I'll go through their skills and explain what their abilities are. Okay, so the objective for Xanadu, for this arena, is pretty straightforward. So the first team to 6 points wins. To gain points, you just have to have units, or gladiators, on these arena hexes. At the start of their turn, if they're on the hex, we get a point. So we're going to have to go for the hexes. I can deploy 1 gladiator per turn, and then the board goes, and then I go deploy, attack, and then they go. So we'll go back and forth. The board has specific, basically a specific AI that we'll use in addition to arena rules for the champion. So a combination of these two will tell us how these two units will behave on the board. I will keep my units off to the side and deploy them, and they will deploy in these bloodied squares at the other side. So let's go through the arena champion and the other challenger. Let's go through their skills and stats and see what they do, and I'll explain what some of these keywords mean as well. So for Hoplomachus, he has a number of different stats. We'll go through them. So we've got his health, we've got his attack range, we've got his move range, and we've got his tactical range. So tactical range would be where he can apply and use tactics if he's within that range of an enemy. And attack range, obviously the same thing. He's got to be within one square or adjacent, right? His special text or abilities down at the bottom is he's got parry, which is innate, meaning it's always active. So, and what parry does is it basically blocks the first successful basic attack on him every round, every turn. So those are his abilities, and he's got like one black attack die. All right, so for Caracas, she's got 2 health, 1 attack range, 3 movement, and 3 tactical range. She has an attack of 1 hit, no roll, meaning that whenever she attacks, the opponent takes an automatic hit. She doesn't have to roll for it. She has the ready ability, which basically means that she may move and attack the turn she's deployed, but since she's already deployed, it really doesn't matter. And she has the innate ability of True Strike, which basically means basic attacks by this unit can be used as alternate attacks. Okay, so now we're ready for the deploy phase. So I'm going to start. So my turn is going to consist of 3 things: deploy, move, and then attack, right? So I'm going to deploy, and I'm going to deploy the Centurion. So he's got 4 health, so I'll have him at the blue chips. And we'll go over his stats and abilities. So he's got 4 health, 1 attack range, 1 movement, and 1 tactical range. He's got a green attack die. He has a shove ability, which if there's an enemy next to him, he can move into that square and it'll push the enemy back 1. So it basically shoves him back. He also has the innate parry ability, which we talked about before. So that is my first action, which is deploy, and then next will be to move. Now I could also deploy tactics, but I think at this point I'm not going to deploy any tactics with him. But now that he's deployed, he's basically done, because you can't really do anything once you deploy unless they have the ready ability. So I'm done, and now the board actually gets to go. All right, so now that it's the board's turn, the first thing you do is we have to roll the 4 combat dice. And what that's going to do is it's going to decide what the champion is going to do. So that's the first thing. The champion activates, we roll these dice, and it tells us how he's going to behave. And then all of the other gladiators, challengers go, and they'll follow the arena AI. So basically, for the Xanadu, we're going to roll and see what dice we get. Okay, so we roll a green, a black, a blue, and a yellow. All right, so we got a green, black, blue, and yellow. So we've got 3 of the 4 hits. Let's see what those do. All right, so since the green is a miss, we don't do this. So he's not going to move. But the black is a hit, and it says, heave the strongest opposing adjacent unit on the arena hex directly overhead. So there's no opposing unit, so he's not going to do that. Hit area knockback. All adjacent opposing units are pushed 1 hex away. There's nobody adjacent. And basic attack. So he's not going to do anything. So that was actually not bad. Next, we have to decide what Caracas is going to do based on the scenario AI. Okay, so for Xanadu, all these units are going to move towards an arena hex. So she'll move towards it. She's got a movement of 3, so she can go 1, 2. Towards the closest opponent, towards the weakest opponent first. So she's definitely going to move to the hex because she's going to want to score points, right? And then she's going to attack the closest opposing unit. 1, 2. I wonder if she's actually going to go and get in there and actually hit him. I can't see why she wouldn't. That would make more sense. So she's going to go in there and attack my unit. Okay, so she doesn't need to roll to attack because she has that one hit, no roll ability. Now, even though he has parry, he would normally block a basic attack, but she has true strike, so she can use it as an alt attack, so he'll take 1 damage. But that's it for them. Their turn's over, and it goes back to me now, so I can deploy again. Okay, so for my second deployed unit, I'm going to bring in a Marauder. He's got 2 health, 2 attack range. He has the Ready ability and the Stun ability. So the Ready ability, as we talked about before, is the unit may move and attack the turn it's deployed. So he comes in ready to go. And he's got the Stun ability, which allows him to roll 1 blue die to attempt to stun on an adjacent unit. The stun unit must be flipped over and ignores all stats and effects but its health. So it lasts 1 full round, so you could potentially stun her. Champions cannot be stunned though. So let's see what we want to do here. I think I'm going to deploy that. I'm also going to deploy the tactic Cheap Shot. So I'm going to have him use that tactic, I believe. So we've deployed. I'm going to have him use that on her, obviously, and hit her for 1 damage. So that is actually gone. She's going to take 1 damage. So she got 1 health. Now that I could potentially move now, but these guys only have a range of 1, so it's not really that big a deal. So I could move him up here. Can move him up here. And now, so deploy, move, and then attack. So I will attack her. I guess I have a couple of attacks I can make. So if I attack her with my Centurion, I just have to roll 1 green die. So we'll roll that here, and it's a miss. And my Marauder, he is going to roll 2 blue die, and I really just need to do 1 damage to her, and he missed both. So no damage to Caracas. So that's the end of my turn, and we go back to the board. All right, so we're gonna roll our 4 dice and see what the AI does. So we've got 2 misses, 3 misses, and 1 hit. So all he's gonna do is move, and he is going to move towards the arena hexes. She is going to move toward the arena hex and the closest opposing unit, the closest weakest opposing unit. So she's going to go up here, and she's going to hit this guy, right? And he has no defense, so she automatically does damage to him. He's got no way to block that, so he takes his damage. And that's it for the board. Now, it goes back to my deployment. Okay, so let's start with deployment. So I'm going to bring in an attacker. He's got 3 health, 1 range on attack, 2 movement range, and 1 tactical range. So he doesn't have ready, so he's done for this turn. I can only move and attack with these guys. So my Centurion's going to move. I think my Marauder is probably going to move over here. And do I want to do that? Actually, I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to shove. So for his move, and that's when you use shove, he basically pushes her back a square. And I'm going to move him up here. Why not? Let's get up in his face. So, and I think they get a point because she started in that square, so she's going to get 1 point, and I'll track their score here, and my score will be on this side. So she gets a point. And I want to attack. So they've moved, now I want to attack. So he's going to attack her. He gets 1 yellow die. Let me bring it up a bit. So I get 1 yellow die, and he hits. So she only has 1 health left, so she's dead. So she's out of the game. And that's all I get to do. So my turn is over. So everybody's moved, everybody's attacked. It's over, we go back to the board. Okay, so start with the champion roll. He gets 2 hits, so he's got a move and a hit for heave. So he's going to move 1 towards the weaker enemy, and he's got heave. So heave, the strongest opposing adjacent unit on an arena hex, which would be him, directly overhead if possible. So he's going to heave him overhead. So he's heave him overhead. So we moved him out of there. And that's all he's going to do. So he's done. So now it's my turn, right? So I'm going to deploy again. So I think I will bring in, and I can deploy here, which would be ideal. So my last fighter is a Spearmint with 3 health. I will deploy him here. And he's got 1 attack range, 2 movement, 1 tactical range. He's got the lunge ability. And what the lunge ability does is, if this unit does not use its own move, increase its attack range by 1 for this turn and change attack to 2 green dice. So he could lunge at him if he doesn't move, but he can't go because he comes in unreadied. So these guys are good. So he gets a movement of 2. So he's going to go 1, 2. I'm going to deploy, actually I already moved, so I don't think there's a need to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack with all 3 of these guys. I think that's the best. So my attacker, he's got Retaliate. I don't think I went through what Retaliate does. So Retaliate is when attacked by and hit with a basic attack by an adjacent unit, do 1 damage back to the adjacent unit. He's also got Whirlwind ability. And I would roll 1 yellow die, well, X amount of yellow die equal to the total adjacent opposing units. So if there's more units, more dice. But he's not going to need to do that because that's more like an area effect, and we're all focusing on Attic bulk. So let us roll some dice and see if we can take this guy out in 1 round of combat. So we'll start with our Marauder, 2 blues. He gets 1 hit, so we take 1 off. We now attack with our Centurion, 1 green, 1 hit. And we will attack with our attacker. He gets a black, a blue, and a yellow. All right. We've got 1 hit. So he gets, boom, so he's got 2 health left. And that is the end of our turn, and we go back to the board's turn. All right, so he gets another point for starting on the arena hex, and he is gonna take an action. So he has a green, so he's gonna move, and he's going to do another heave. So his movement would be towards the closest weakest unit. So he's already there. But then he's going to do another heave. He's going to heave the strongest opposing adjacent on arena hex directly overhead if possible. So he really can't. So on an arena hex, that would be this guy. So yeah, he can. So he's going to pick him up and throw him over here and get us off that. So he's basically keeping us from scoring. He's just throwing us all around. So that's it for him. He's not really hitting anybody. He's just preventing me from putting any points up. So that's it. That's the end of his turn. I'm out of deployments. I do have this add 2 health to a friendly unit, and I think I'll give it to the Marauder. So I'll bring him up to max health since he was down to 1. So he's back up to full, and I'm going to move. So I will move him here, and we are all gonna basically take a swing at this guy. So let's start with our attacker, and we'll do his standard attack, which is a black, a yellow, and a blue. And that's one hit. So we knock one chip off. He's got one more health left. And we'll go in with the, let's see if the Centurion can finish him off with a green, and he does. So we ended up killing Hoplomachus and winning the first trial of Xanadu. So that is that. We can get ready and set up for trial number 2. Okay, so we are moving on to trial number 2. So trial number 1 is pretty easy. Trial 2 is also in Xanadu, but the rules change now. So I can draft Xanadian units and tactics, but I think I'm going to keep the same core team, and we'll try to stick with them as long as possible. But the rule here is your draft is limited to just 5 chips. So I'll probably stick with maybe 4 gladiators and 1 tactic. And we are going to go against 3 enemy gladiators. So we're going against Caracas again, but we're bringing in Machamal. So let's get those challengers out and set them up on the board. Okay, so we're basically starting up with the same setup as before. So we've got Hoplomachus and Caracas in the 1 and 2 slot, but we are going to bring in Machamoy into the 3rd slot, which is up here. So he's got 3 health, attack range of 1, 2 range of movement, and 1 tactical range. He has a toss ability, which he may move adjacent unit 1 hex left or right, remaining adjacent. So basically he could pick somebody up here, move him here or here, just swing him. He also has the innate ability of Bloodlust, which if this unit is not at full health, he gets 1 black die added to his basic attack, which is pretty strong. So I want to take him out, if at all possible, quickly in one round. But that's it, same rules apply. We're going for 6 points, or kill all the enemy gladiators and see if we can get through trial number 2. Okay, so I will deploy my Centurion with 4 health first, and I'll bring him in over here. That's all I can do. So that, maybe I won't bring him in first. You know what? Maybe I'm going to bring in my Marauder first, actually, because he gets to come in ready. And do I want to do that? Nah, you know what? I'm going to bring in Centurion. Let's stick with my original plan. All right, so Centurion's gonna deploy first, but he's done. We are going to now roll for the champion because it's the board's turn, and he rolls just a black hit, which is heave, so he doesn't do anything, so he's going to stay put. But these guys are going to move, so they're going to go 1, 2, 3. They're moving towards me, but also towards this. So this is their objective first hand, right? And he's going to go 1, 2 because they want to score points. They just need 6. So that's how they're going to end their turn. My next deploy phase. All right, so we're going to deploy, and I'm going to deploy the Marauder, who comes in ready. And I'm going to bring him in ready here. Now we get to move. So they each get a movement of 1. So I'm going to bring my Centurion up 1. And I'm going to bring my Marauder. Marauder gets 1 as well. So I'll bring him over here. All right. Now, can I use the shove ability? So shove basically says move this unit 1 hex onto the opposing unit. That unit also moves back 1 hex opposing unit. So this is usable during the move phase. So it's the move phase, so I'm going to shove. So he basically runs and pushes her back 1 whole grid. All right. I'll push this Machamoy back. And with that, he is going to attack. So now they get to attack. So Marauder doesn't get to attack because he is nowhere near anybody, but the Centurion is going to hit Caracas. So he gets 1 green, and he hits. So she loses 1 health. But that's the end of my attack phase. Actually, it's the end of my turn. So now it's the board. They do have one gladiator on the arena hex, so she's going to get 1 point. All right. So they got their point, right? And we now roll for the champion. So let's see. He gets what? He's going to move 1 hex, and then he's going to do a knockback, but he's not near my guys, so he can't hurt us. Now, they are going to move towards the center, and they're going to stay on these arena hexes, okay? And then they're going to attack. So he is going to attack the Centurion, and he gets a black and a yellow. Oops. And he's got 2 hits. So I'm going to parry 1, but take another. So I'll take 1 damage, and then she automatically hits, so he takes 1 damage. All right, so now we go to my turn. I get 1 point, and I can deploy. So I'm going to deploy an attacker over here. My Centurion is going to shove her off this square. The Marauder is going to come in. And I think we're ready to attack. So Centurion is going to attack her for 1. And he hits, so she is dead. And my Marauder is going to alt attack stun the Machamoy, I think, for this round. So stun, I get to roll 1 blue die and attempt to stun. So let's see if we can do it. And we hit, so he is stunned. So we flip him over. Lasts 1 full round until the start of the phase. So we are good. So he's not going to do anything. And that will end my turn. So now we go to the board phase, so they're going to get a point for being up here. And we're going to roll for the commander, the champion. Champion AI, so he's going to move there. And he's got the black H, so he's going to grab the Marauder and heave him overhead, so he pulls him off. Now, this guy is stunned this round, so he's not going to do anything. So that's going to end the board turn. All right, so we'll unstun this guy, so he's back in business. And we are going to go into the move, deploy phase, and then move. So first thing, I'm going to give bolster health. I'm going to apply that tactic to bring him back up to full, so he gets plus, actually no, not him. Where's my Centurion? Him. So he's back up to 4 health now. And I'm going to deploy this Spearmint, so he gets 3 health. I'll bring him in here. Everybody else gets to move now. So Centurion, he's going to go ahead and just push Machamoy right out. All right. My attacker, he gets a movement of 2. He's going to go 1, 2. Come up here. And that's it. I think we're going to attack now. So probably, I think maybe we'll go after, let's go after Uruk-Bok first. So the Marauder gets, he gets the parry, so he'll block the first attack. Then I can't stun this guy, so 2 blues, so hopefully I get 2. No, 2 misses, so that was great. The Centurion, he gets 1, so he's not even gonna go through. So maybe he'll attack Machamoy at 1 hit. So Machamoy takes a hit, but his Bloodlust goes into effect, so now he's going to get an extra black die roll. And my attacker is going to get 3 dice. So he gets a black, a blue, and a yellow. So let's see if we can get a couple of hits on this guy. 3 hits, so only 2 are going to go through. Boom, boom. All right. So that is the end of my phase, and now we go back to the board. So we've taken them off the center, which is great, but champion gets to go first. And what does he do? He does a lot here. So he's going to move, and he's not going to go anywhere. He's going to heave. He heaves the strongest guy off the center. Done. And now he's going to knock back everybody. So my attacker gets knocked back, but my Marauder and my Centurion can't get knocked back, and they take 2 damage each. So he just killed my Marauder, and he knocked 2 health off of my Centurion. So that was a nasty move. All right, so now Machamoy is going to go 1, 2, and attack my attacker. Right now he gets 2 blacks and a yellow, so let's roll these first. And it's 1 hit, so he takes the damage, but he retaliates and hits him back. And he gets to roll 1 more black, and it's a miss. All right, great. So they're done. Goes back to me now, so I get a point for being on the hex, and the Spearmint is not going to move. He's going to use lunge. So if he doesn't move this round, I can actually use a lunge attack. But I'm going to bring him over 1, 2, and I'm going to bring my Centurion over 1 and leave him there. So let's start with the Spearmint. Yeah, so his lunge attack is going to give him 2 green dice this turn and a range of 2 on his attack. So he's going to lunge at him with 2 green dice. So 1 is a miss, 1 is a hit, so he dies. So he killed him with his lunge attack. He can't hit him because he will parry it, but he can because he gets 3 attacks. So blue, yellow, and black. 2 hits, so he takes 1 damage. All right, end of their turn. This guy is not in the middle, so he doesn't get anything. Let's go to his AI. All right, so he's going to move. He's going to grab him and throw him off. And then he's going to do a basic attack to the weakest, which will just go to the Centurion, who parries it. So his basic attack gets parried. Done. My turn. All right, so I'm going to move him up. You know what? I'm not going to move him. I'm going to do a lunge at him, and I'm going to leave these guys. Maybe I'll move the Centurion here, and I will move him 1, 2 here, and that's it. So Spearman's going to lunge, and he gets 2 greens. It was 1 hit. 1 more will end him. So that's a miss. Let's do his normal attack. 3 hits. So he parries the first but takes the 2. So he's dead. And we completed and beat the second challenge, even though it wasn't very easy. But we were successful. All right, so 2 pretty challenging scenarios. Well, really one. So the first scenario, first trial is quite easy. I think you're only fighting against two challengers, and you've got like 4 or 5 you can bring in. But the second one definitely is a lot tougher. You've got to get in there quick, take over those arena hexes, and try to hold them or kill them off as quick as possible, because they'll sit there and just soak up the points, based on how the AI is set up. So really smart game. It's definitely quick. Those sessions take 10-15 minutes just to get through if you want just a quick little tactical dice roller. I don't have the premium health chips, so the ones you saw are just the base chips, but you can order much better quality, heavier plastic chips for the health. If you get the game, you'll see that the actual Gladiator chips are much heavier quality than the actual health chips that come with the base. But the boards are nice. They come, they're on game mats, which a lot of companies are doing nowadays, which is really nice. I think it's a good touch. But I hope you got a good feel for the game. It's like I said, it's pretty quick, pretty straightforward. Once you learn what the abilities are, you can fly through those games, and they're pretty neat, pretty good tactics you can set up. So hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and I will see you next time.